I've always had a fascination with cults. What drives people to them? A sense of belonging, a yearn for something higher than themselves, the ability to put absolute trust in someone? And what about the cult leaders? What drives them? A need for power, money, status, a yearning to be remembered? Or perhaps it's just the inner workings of a damaged, narcissistic mind. I study cults to find these answers, and maybe that's why you're here too. South Korea is one of the most best prepared countries when it comes to something like a viral outbreak. So how exactly did COVID-19 spread so uncontrolled throughout Korea? Would you believe me if I told you it was the fault of a cult? A nationwide secret religion refusing to get tested and stating that the virus itself is just a test of fate, ruled by one man, corrupt with power. In this video, we will learn the history of the cult, why COVID-19 was spread by it, and we will break down the cult using Stephen Hassan's bite model. The bite model helps us determine the level of control the church forced upon its members and is used to detect cult behaviors. Let's break it down, piece by piece. Then we will give it a total score of suspected bite model behaviors. Shincheonji Church of Jesus was established on March 14th, 1984, in South Korea by a man named Lee Man-hee. Before founding his own cult, Lee Man-hee was actually a part of another cult called Olive Tree, and then subsequently another cult called the Tent Temple Movement, which actually attracted an enormous following during the 1960s, but then fell apart in the 1970s after its spiritual leader was accused of fraud. The sect is known for its very secretive nature. Adherents believe that the group's founder, Lee, is the returned Jesus Christ, and that the Holy Bible is written in secret metaphors, which only Lee can correctly interpret. They believe Lee Man-hee will never die, that he will live forever and bring global peace to the earth. According to PRI, the church's doctrine dictates that everyone who is not a member of Lee's church will be denied forgiveness and destroyed on Judgment Day. The name Shincheonji comes from the Book of Revelation. It translates from Korean as New Heaven and Earth. The group's official name is Shincheonji Church of Jesus, the Temple of the Tabernacle of the Testimony. The group claims to have over 200,000 adherents in South Korea, along with thousands of other worshippers in at least 24 other countries. Most Koreans already believe this church is a cult. Members of Shincheonji respond to this criticism by saying that Jesus himself and his disciples were also considered cults and persecuted for their beliefs. Shincheonji is hated by the general populace of South Korea. Firstly, because it breaks up families. The secret and manipulative group is ultimately responsible for tearing apart thousands of families in South Korea. Shincheonji starts initiating and brainwashing its members through secret Bible study sessions. They will rent out an office space and do Bible lessons there, telling their members not to tell anyone about them because they may face persecution. Members go to Bible study 5 days a week and worship meetings twice a week on Wednesday and Sunday. Shincheonji's members are sent to other churches to recruit followers for Lee. They have a rigorous recruiting quota, and if it can't be met, there's a $1,000 fine. Therefore, Shincheonji's followers use aggressive and deceptive methods to get new followers. Shincheonji's proselytizers will go to work in secrecy without revealing their identities. According to NPR, missionaries plant themselves in mainstream churches and invite the church's congregations to seemingly innocent Bible studies, which actually serve as a platform of persuasion. Some missionaries get into positions of leadership within the church in order to stage a total takeover. This has led to mainstream churches putting up signs that say, "No Shincheonji," on their doors and in their front lawns. Yet, perhaps the biggest grievance many have with the church is its habit of isolating its congregants from their families, friends, and the rest of mainstream society. One convert was taken from their family and sent to Korea, where he began residing with other church members. He hasn't spoken to his family since. Donating all of your money is a common practice in the church. Once they fall into the trap of the church, they often stop attending schools and jobs and dedicate all their time to the church's activities. The amount of brainwashing they do to young people is actually terrifying and has a devastating and lasting effect.
So I was there for about 2 years. Took me 1 year to leave the place. They tell you how the hidden truths of the Bible are going to be only revealed through this promised pastor, who is the founder of SCJ. Hearing that constantly, you go there many hours, 4 or 5 days a week. You're so used to this. It becomes a part of you.
New converts are expected to complete at least 6 months of rigorous Bible training before they can attend the church's large worship service. The location of the services and activities are always a secret. While attending these services, members all dress in uniform, white shirts, dark pants, and an identity badge around their necks. They sit on the floor in tight rows, shoulder to shoulder. The New York Times reported a woman, known publicly as Patient 31, is believed to be the starting point of the disease cluster in the Shincheonji. The patient is a 61-year-old female and checked into the hospital in Daegu on February 7th for injuries caused by a minor traffic accident. A day later, she developed a sore throat, but even so, still attended the Shincheonji church service meeting. Later, she developed a fever and returned to the hospital, where doctors recommended she transfer to a larger hospital where COVID-19 testing could be completed. Patient 31 refused, but stayed in the hospital for treatment of her fever. She slipped out of the hospital the following Sunday to once again attend church. Ultimately, she started feeling worse and worse, and finally on Monday gave in and allowed to be tested for the coronavirus. She was confirmed to have the virus on Tuesday. At least 1,000 Shincheonji members attended the 2 services where Patient 31 was in attendance. You may be wondering to yourself, why didn't Patient 31 just stay at home and miss church that week? You see, for members of this cult, missing church isn't allowed. According to the church, illness is not a valid reason to skip service. The church members wear special cards around their necks they swipe in and out for roll call. Each member is counted for every service. If a member is missing, they must make up for their time as soon as possible, either attending Monday or Tuesday services. Missing too many services or not making up your time leads to disciplinary action. Lee's followers themselves are actually taught not to be afraid of illness. A mixture of this teaching, along with the church's strange practices, does not allow members to wear face masks. In fact, members are not allowed to wear anything on their faces. As of March 23rd, South Korea has reported 8,981 cases of infection, including 111 deaths. After discovery of the patient, the government did a fast sweep to clean up the virus at its center. The government raided several churches and disinfected them, while ordering members to get tested. Many of them refused, thinking the virus was either not real and was just a form of persecution on the church, or that the virus was merely a test of faith. Members would refuse testing, go into hiding, and ignore precautions, causing a surge of a very contagious illness to spread. The cult received national outrage from the average Korean citizens. Some members of the shincheonji were fired because of their membership. Some were abused by their spouses after being found out. The nation began protests demanding the church be dissolved and that its leader be sent to jail for murder through willful negligence. Mr. Lee got on his hands and knees while wearing a face mask and apologized to Korea for the spread of the illness. It's estimated the cult is responsible for 4,000 cases of COVID-19 among citizens. The mayor of Seoul sued Lee for not giving out accurate information on its members and church establishments so that the government could prevent infection from spreading, thus causing death and damages. As of now, the future of this cult remains unknown. But Lee Man-hee for now continues to lay low, and many members of the shincheonji are still in hiding, fearing repercussions from other Korean citizens. Now, let's break down the cult behaviors, one by one. Donating all your money is a common practice in this church. The secret and manipulative group is ultimately responsible for tearing apart thousands of families in South Korea. While attending services, members all dress in uniform, white shirts, dark pants, and an identity badge around their necks. Members go to Bible study 5 days a week and worship meetings twice a week on Wednesday and Sunday. Shincheonji members believe other institutions are incorrect, therefore have their own secret Bible meetings. Many people, once fully in the church, will leave their schools and jobs. Shincheonji starts initiating and brainwashing its members through secret Bible study sessions. The church isolates its congregants from their families, friends, and the rest of mainstream society. The church's doctrine dictates that everyone who is not a member of Lee's church will be denied forgiveness and destroyed on Judgment Day. During services, there's excessive chanting, singing, and they sit on the floor in tight rows, shoulder to shoulder. Members believe they are being persecuted like Jesus, believe their cult leader is Jesus, and that he will never die and bring about world peace. Missing church isn't allowed. Missing too many services or not making up your time leads to disciplinary action. Church members are taught that if they leave the group, they will not be saved on Judgment Day. They must follow all doctrine or be shamed. Shincheonji Church of Jesus scores a possible 12 out of 35, making the cult moderately dangerous. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to help support what I do, you can leave me a tip on PayPal, buy me a coffee, or become a patron. It's only $1. Until next time, stay spooky.